Now I'm wondering, had I worn the mask instead, would I have kicked all the bullies' asses? Or would I still end up on the floor like this? I guess I'll never know. Unless I choose the next, unless I reload and choose that option next time. So, it's gonna be a bit, but we'll find out in due time. I jumped up. My jaw was burning, as were my temples. The kitchen, the beasts in animal masks, and the dead head. Everything had disappeared. Everything but the goddamn mask that was haunting me. One delinquent put it on me for the laughs. I tore off the bunny face that had already stuck to my face, threw into the darkness and realized that I woke up near the crumbled snowman in the forest. Covered in snow and coniferous needles, without my glasses and with a smashed face. So I blacked out. Horrible. Pulsating pain seemed like a gift compared to the horrors I just witnessed. I stood up, spitting out blood. The forest seemed like a prison that was keeping me in with its wooden bars. I didn't know how long I was out. My limbs were numb from the cold. My pants were soaking wet. I stood alone in a ring of towering trunks, not being able to see anything. Everything around me moved, trembled. My ears went numb from all the rustling. The treetops melted in the darkness of the cosmos. The bushes became empty cells, whose occupants were suddenly set free. It felt like a clawed fan could fly out of the darkness and into my stunned face at any moment. I heard a scream somewhere far away.
Антон!
Is that your dad? Someone was looking for me, just like that boy who went missing. Tears stung my eyes. A big drop fell from my lashes.
Антон!
The scream was closer now, and for a moment, I even believed that I was about to be saved.
Я здесь!
The light hit my face. I covered it with my hand. Flashlight's ray slid down.
Антон! Вот ты где! Ты совсем сдурел? Это вообще как понимать?
My dad walked out from the shadows. I went toward him, hoping that he won't melt, that he's not another trick that my insane mind played on me. He turned out to be real, warm, and alive.
Язык проглотил? Я встретил твою одноклассницу на дороге. Она сказала...
Branches cracked in the distance. I pressed myself into my father's chest, engulfed by fear, and he started looking around, alerted, and spoke in a tone of voice that was much more nervous.
Так, пойдем отсюда скорее. Мать узнает, такой нагоняй нам устроит, мало не покажется.
I reached out for my father, still feeling the chilling embrace of fear. I grabbed his firm hand, felt his quick pulse with my fingertips, then stood up and wobbled along behind my father, following his barely discernible footprints. Back to civilization, back to light, back to the road where my dad parked his car.
Чтобы дома ни слова, ясно? Ни единого намека, где я тебя нашел.
Да, пап.
You're already in bad... You're already in a bad note with your wife and you want to continue this lie? Oh man. He was holding my hand as if it was the most precious thing in the world and kept telling me how afraid he is to lose me or Alia. I nodded and moved my legs. Only when we got into the car, Dad noticed my scratches.
Тебя били?
I felt up my cheek.
Подрался.
Из-за чего?
Из-за девушки.
Dad replied with a thoughtful nod. I heard the low hum of the engine. My dad wore a fearful expression. It wasn't that sticky fear that paralyzed me in the nightmare, though. His fear was noble, like crystal clear diamond. He opened the glove box and got some napkins out of there.
Драться за девушку? Это правильно. Да, нужно решать конфликт словами, но иногда слова не помогают.
Oh yeah, words were never gonna work with these bums. They suck. Dad flashed an encouraging smile at me. Right as he was about to close the glove box, I noticed a handle peeking from under the rug. He was carrying a gun around. My dad, a true intellectual, had a pistol with him, like an action movie hero. Or, like an ordinary thug, some voice whispered to me. Pines were flying by the window. The car's lights were struggling against the darkness. The car carried me back home. Dad was cautiously studying me in the black mirror. back mirror. I was thinking about the gun, about my dreams, about people in animal masks that pretended to be my parents. Man, look at that. I love the way this VN is presented. That's some effort. And the white snowflakes just kept dancing in the starry sky.
Явились, не запылились.
Mom was going downstairs, piercing Dad with her trademark glare. Her face showed something between wrath and condescension. Suddenly, her gaze shifted to me and stayed for a dangerously long time.
Так, я не поняла. Антон, а где очки? Потерял?
Да в школе поди забыл, простофиля.
A venomous pause followed.
Весь в тебя.
Dad glared at Mom and then mischievously winked at me, reminding me of our deal.
Ну ничего, есть же запасные. Проживем как-нибудь.
My parents stood in silence a bit longer, and then both of them went to mind their own business. Alia threw herself into my arms before I could even take off my coat.
А я лису увидела!
I spoke with the fox. Surprise akin to a shotgun blast. I could only flap my lips in reply. A cup shattered into many little pieces with a loud bang. My mom let it fall from her hands. Her face was pale and her eyes were glued to the ground. This pause was just a split second, felt like an eternity. Then my mom spoke with disappointment.
То сова, то лиса. Когда ж тебе надоест?
Why did she drop her cup then?
Правда, правда! Такая пушистая! Она у забора стояла на задних лапах, совсем как человек.
Oh, so she met Elisa too.
Она меня позвала, а тут мама вышла, и лиса убежала.
Не было там никакой лисы. Не выдумывай.
Не подходи к ней.
If it was necessary, I was ready to shake my sister as if she was a doll made of cloth.
Ты чего, Тоша? Не подходи, слышишь?
Mom entered the hallway and gave me a surprised look. I hesitated.
Ну, лиса ведь укусить может.
I remembered fairy tales where foxes used to kidnap children. I imagined Elisa, liberated, carnivorous, running through the night forest with a dangling sack in her hands.
Это ж была не настоящая лиса. Расскажи ему, Оль.
Она на двух ногах ходила, а еще была в платье одета. Только она была взаправду.
Видишь?
Mom showed us a tired smile, as if it was the only explanation needed. I also forced myself to smile. My smile was like a thin piece of soap, right before it dissolves completely on your palm. But when I was left alone with my sister, I whispered.
Еще раз увидишь ее, беги.
Now she runs. Memories about my family and disgusting masks attacked, bombarded me like the underhanded blows of my classmates. The furry faces of my family stood before my eyes, their toothy mouths full of thick saliva. What's happening to me? What kind of tricks is my mind playing on me? This bunny mask was real. It just appeared in my school bag out of nowhere, as if I never threw it away in the forest. I shut my eyes and threw the vitamins in my mouth, washed them down with water. Please, stop driving me mad. Please. I barely managed to force myself to do homework, but those math problems just refused to be solved. Numbers in my notebook tumbled around in mixed in whirl and dance, sometimes running over the lines. My head became heavy from the pandemonium and I almost dropped it into the chain of numbers. My eyelids felt like there was only tiny weights tied to them, the type used in grocery stores. And right at the moment I surrendered and closed my notebook, the memories of my day started flashing before my eyes. I was in the middle of the stuffy school corridor. I could see the literature classroom from here, the faces of dead classical writers and their portraits, the prim and regal pose of our homeroom teacher, Lilia Pavlovna. And around that corner was her daughter, Katya, a snitch and a gossip, eagerly waiting for me.
Эй, новенький, новенький. Чего тебе, Кать?
She got on her tiptoes and started swaying, while hiding her hands behind her back, and then asked me with a fake smile on her face.
Скажи, пожалуйста, а чего это тебя к нам перевели, а?
I think he's dreaming again. I might have told the truth about this to Paulina, but Katya will sell it on the market for 3 kopekas. It'd be the same as printing all my thoughts and hanging them near Vova's picture for everyone to see. So I reverted to an answer I knew by heart.
Это все из-за моих родителей. У папы тут новая работа, а мама...
But Katya didn't even listen to me, just rushed toward the perked up ears of her friends who whispered something while stealing glances at me and giggling.
Да-да, конечно, конечно. Он нас тут совсем за дурачков держит. Я вот слыхала, что это все из-за его отца. Он недавно кому-то крутому дорогу перешел, и теперь они всей своей семейкой в нашем захолустье скрываются.
Неправда! Ты все врешь!
А слышали? Слышали, как ему бабурин всыпал? А этот лишь ручки опустил, да глазенки потупил.
Man, the faces of these kids without eyes are disturbing. Again, I understand the effect they're trying to pull. It's working.
Прекрати! Ты знаешь, он не один был!
И будто этого мало. Ходят слухи, что этот чудик повсюду таскает с собой заячью маску.
This has to be a dream.
Ой, девочки, ну кто же в своем уме будет такое делать? Ясно, понятно. Со странностями наш Антошка. Может, слабоумный, а может и маньяк. Если в его портфеле хорошо покопаться, там и топор отыскать можно. А может, что и похуже.
Are you trying to turn him into one? Because this is the start of the makings of a serial killer, if you ask me.
Да-да-да.
Замолчи! Заткнись!
Ха! Вон как раскричался-то, будто ужаленный.
Yeah, you.
А зрачки-то, зрачки какие широкие. Опять чего доброго с катушек слетит и руки распускать начнет. Не зря же его мать с таблетками пичкает.
I just stood there in confusion, trying in vain to understand how she found out about my medicine. And what scared me even more was the possibility that her nonsense had some truth mixed in.
Да-да. Он такой же ненормальный, как и его сестрица.
Oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Not Alia.
Представляете, к этой сумасшедшей дурочке каждую ночь прилетает сова ростом с человека. Да-да. Только что-то ее никто из здоровых людей не видел. А этот наивный простак ей верит. Нет, ну вы представляете?
And then I caught a single kind look from the smirking crowd.
Как же так, Антон? Неужели действительно тебе не здоровится?
Полина, послушай меня!
Как же? Не слушай этого болтуна, Полиночка. Свистит он, что в Москве бывал, как пить дать. Это ничтожество даже постоять за себя не может. А при случае и за тебя не заступится. Бросит, думая, как бы только самому по шее не схлопотать. Слабак.
This must be his insecurities talking right now. Paulina slouched as if someone kicked her in the stomach and then burst out into tears and fell to the dirty floor wailing and screaming.
Нет! Нет! Антон! Почему? За что?
I couldn't understand their reaction, but I still rushed to Paulina's side before getting shoved violently by Katya.
Убери от нее свои лапы, чудовище!
Rage was building up under the veil of my fear. It slowly rose from the cloudy mist. I felt my lip creep up, showing my teeth.
То, что твой отец бьет мать, еще не дает тебе права поднимать руку на девушку!
Oh, he might beat you, though. My fists became hammers. I couldn't unclench them. Nobody can speak about my family like that. I came to my senses when I already lunged at the angry Katya.
Ага! Слетел-таки! Слетел! Спасите! Помогите! Петров с катушек слетел!
At the same moment, the crowd around it became louder. It started whistling and roaring and growing. The subtle silhouettes of my schoolmates became larger and wider. They shot upward toward the ceiling, turned into a giant black forest, chock full of 2D faces. I shrank to a tiny ball of fur and started shaking in fear before the might of ulcer, ridden trunks that belonged to either trees or humans. It was impossible to tell.
Вот ты и показал свое животное нутро. Трус!
Katya's face was twisted with jubilation and ecstasy.
Антон! Почему? Нет! За что?
What did he do to you? Paulina screamed while choking on her tears.
Он! Животное! Чужак!
A scary flapping of wings came from the forest. A pair of giant white ears descended somewhere from above, and I dug myself into them.
Пожалуйста! Вставай!
I jumped up, almost falling out of bed. Apparently, I was thrashing around for hours in the sweat-soaked cheeks. Alia's scream pulled me out, set me free from the tentacles of fear.
Антон!
That was cool.
Пожалуйста! Вставай! Вставай!
It took my eyes a while to focus on the silhouette near the window. Alia's voice was distant. My head was still ringing after the fight. Sounds got distorted, as if my ears were stuffed with cotton. My sister, as distressed as ever, just kept on repeating the same phrase.
Сова! Сова! Пожалуйста! Я боюсь!
Hot tears poured on my heart like boiling water, but I was almost thankful for the owl's appearance. Otherwise, the scared Alia wouldn't have woken me up.
Оля, я сейчас. Хочешь, я тебе Мурзилку почитаю? Подожди.
I placed my bare heels on the cold floor. Felt around for my glasses. Remembered Semyon, his underhanded act, and sighed.
Антон! Пожалуйста! Пожалуйста! Посмотри!
She couldn't tear her eyes off the window, as if it was a staring contest. I found the light switch with my hand. The lamp poured bright light all over me. I got up. My vision fooled me, moving the window closer only to push it farther the next moment. My sister was just a blurry spot. I took a hesitant step forward.
Оль, что там? Что-то случилось? Ты хочешь, чтобы я открыл шторы?
Нет, не надо!
Do it. I'm worried that might not be her sister.
Там же сова!
The voice was coming from behind. What the hell? I turned around and froze from terror. Teary-eyed Alia stood in the doorway.
С кем ты разговаривал, братик?
She stared at me with eyes that were red from crying. With her hands wrapped around her shoulders, her voice was nervous, as if she was afraid to hear my answer.
Я разговаривал с тобой. С тем, кто притворился тобой.
The ledge outside my windows creaked ominously, as if something huge was sitting up on top of it. Oh, look at that! The owl! And the thing that pretended to be Alia started spreading, changing shape, grew to scary heights under the light of a Carnarvon moon. Oh, get the hell out of here! Why the hell does it know my name? The voice didn't belong to my sister anymore. The thing that was hiding behind my curtains got tired of pretending, making me look like a fool. I pinched myself as hard as I could, hoping that the silhouette near the window was just a continuation of my nightmare. A hallucination brought upon by the cursed house. And those don't bite, do they? The silhouette was towering before me under the veil of mist. I heard Alia shrill scream when someone had knocked on the window.
Она пришла за нами!
Another knock. I stepped back into the middle of the room, as if there existed nooks where I could hide from this terror. The sound was sharp, metallic. The lamp started shimmering. Then it suddenly lighted the whole room and went out, like a candle in the strong wind. The filament inside it snapped with a ringing sound. Well, I mean, the good news is it seems like it can't come in. The darkness that was waiting for that exact moment poured from all angles and enveloped me. There was only this window left in the whole universe. Moonlight poured through it, painting everything the color of bones that were exhumed from a crypt. Alia started squealing and pressed herself to my back, seeking protection. And then an eye, burning with a carnivorous fire, stared at us from the window. No, it wasn't trying to break the window. It was toying with us. It just kept on knocking, driving us mad. It's pecking the window, I bet you. As if a giant clock was measuring the time left for us, its pendulum swinging above the abyss.
Уходи! Убирайся! Пошла прочь!
She was screaming in desperation, her hands clutching my arm like a pair of pincers. You see, I was going to just open the curtain to see what you look like. Now, no. I could barely make out a pair of wings that spread out from above the black spot.
Скажи ей, Антон! Скажи, что я больше не буду себя плохо вести! Никогда! Только пусть она уйдет! Пожалуйста!
The moonlight suddenly disappeared and the room descended into darkness. We couldn't see the burning eye anymore. I swallowed the stingy lump that was stuck in my throat. I stepped toward the curtains, entranced by the call of this disfigured guest.
Не буду, не буду, не буду, не буду!
Alia was standing behind me, mumbling. The bleak window was creeping closer. Curtains rustled. I reached out to move them aside so I could look my fear in the eye. At that moment, I heard noise coming from our parents' bedroom. Without thinking, I pulled the curtain to the side in one swing. Nothing. Though there was something shining on the ledge, among the scattered feathers. My glasses. The ones that Semyon took from me. How did they get here? The only hope I can get out of this is, did that owl kill Semyon? Please tell me it did. Or scared him half to death. That would be great too. I appreciate that. Was that a gift from the gurgling night? Did that owl really bring them here? I looked at the front yard, at the foreboding clearing, at the toothy forest. Not a soul. Not a trace of our late night guest. Only the old lamppost dreaming like a lone watchman among the snowy desert. The dry window frame creaked. I tore away the insulating tape and the stripes of glued newspapers. Opened the window with big trouble. Frost pinned me with its little needles. The paintings on my walls moved from the draft. I touched my glasses, sure they would melt in my hands, but they were real. My brain was scrambling for an explanation. Semyon and his gang pulled a prank on me. That was it. That's it. A smooth white blanket was glittering under the street lamp just outside our yard. If anybody was to get close to this house to climb the pipe to the ledge of my window, they would surely leave footprints. But there were none. I cautiously took my glasses. My wrist was still intact. Nobody pulled me into the darkness, full of restless writhing.
Вы почему не спите?
I swayed from surprise and almost fell out of the window.
Совсем сдурели? Жарко, что ли? Не болели давно?
Там сова была! Тоша ее прогнал!
А ну-ка марш спать к себе в комнату! А с тобой?
Mom paused, directing her seething eyes at me. She was thinking of a punishment equivalent to my crime. In the end, she just waved her hand, took Alia by the shoulder, and left, throwing gloomy words my way.
Завтра поговорим.
I'm worried about the mother. What if she's in on it? What if she knows something? She kind of hesitated when the daughter brought up the owl again. Oh, the fox, actually. I managed to get the frame back in place with a couple of hits, pressing the latches with all the strength that my fingers could muster. The cold left the room, but the fear was still present. I placed my glasses on my nose and started studying my reflection in the window. It didn't look like a face, more like a death mask. Just like the one worn by the boy from the notice board. That night, I was on the edge of joining him there. A black and white face was staring at me through the clearing between the students' heads. And it wasn't Vova. His face was right beside it. I recognized the fat cheeks, the damaged skin. Semyon Babuin, 13 years old. He left for school in the morning of January the 9th and never returned. Features, 155 to 160 centimeters tall, chubby ginger hair, gray eyes, He's wearing a dark brown sheepskin coat, a beige scarf, a black mink hat, and Alaska boots. Semyon. Babuin's photo is printed out and placed under the glass like an exhibition piece. You would think they would call the authorities now on that, because that's already, you got one missing kid, then you get a second one. That's a red flag, especially for the small town. All right, we're on episode 3 now. On end, the wolf's gray fur will stand. He's the one who hated Baburin. You think he did it? Oh, of course, you're gonna blame me. I've heard he's a weirdo. I hurriedly rubbed my glasses. The glasses! Samuel was clutching them in his fist while I was getting beat up. And in just a couple of hours, this lost item was lying on the ledge of my window. It was hard to imagine that Shoma suddenly got guilty conscience and returned my glass in such a strange way. Was it Shoma now? Wasn't it Semyon? I was shocked but kept walking toward the classroom, accompanied by nasty whispers all around me. The photo still stood before my eyes. Semyon has gone missing. Semyon is gone. Oh, Shoma's the friend of his. His fat fingers will never get to my throat. His signet ring won't smash into my chin. He'll never humiliate me again. Wasn't that what I wished for? On the other hand, did I really wish Semyon to become a murky stain on the notice board? He was still someone's son, or a grandson, and he went through the same struggles as me. Did I really wish for an unseen companion to dispatch him in such a brutal fashion? I still say he was a dick. Was he someone that deserved to die, or possibly go missing? Maybe not. But he deserved to get his ass kicked somehow. I didn't know the answer, or I was just scared of it. Nonetheless, school still had something nice about it. Paulina, the girl with a violin, was like a mountain spring, like well water that gulped down, pressing your lips against the zinc outer ring of a bucket and can't ever get enough. Remembering our walk yesterday cooled off my head. Paulina's hatred towards dogs, while understandable, was still alarming. Oh, hell yeah, that's another red flag, by the way. Could a charming girl like her really be nesting something so repulsive inside her heart? Yes. I immediately remember my dad's shady past that recently resurfaced. A person I idolized was the same reason for us moving to this bleak countryside. At least he was according to his mom's screams that were coming from the other side of the wall. Still, Paulina tried to defend me from a delinquent gang, even if she failed at it. She was pleading for Romka to leave me alone and gather my belongings that were strewn around the forest while fighting tears. And when those bastards tried to drag her away, she resisted with all the might she had in her fragile body. I honestly thought she was going through my stuff trying to get something, but I don't know. In the end, she was the one to find my house, lost among the taiga, and tell my dad that I lied there alone in the dark, abandoned in the middle of the forest after the beating. Maybe I'm being too harsh on her. What if I make her one of the characters in the story I'll draw? The protagonist will save her from the terrifying monsters. As soon as I thought of monsters, a bunch of my classmates slid down the rails smirking like the xenomorphs from the Alien. I immediately felt larvae of fear rise in my stomach. I didn't want to cross paths with Romka and Biasha after what happened yesterday, especially since Semyon suddenly went missing. Paulina seemed eager to talk to me, but her expression soured after noticing the aforementioned duo, and she walked past, leaving me a single sorry look. I entered the classroom and went toward the last row. All of the chatter suddenly died down, so I walked there in complete silence. It felt like my classmates pushed and poked me with their stares. They carefully observed my every move. They looked at me with a mortifying mix of pity, ridicule, and derision, like a scientist looks at an ugly representative of a newfound species of worms. I stared at the desk with a huge pile of library textbooks on top, my fists clenched. It felt like I was the one who disappeared in that snowy forest and my desk was finally used for something worthwhile. Semyon's empty chair stood in front of me. The chair that once belonged to Vova gathered dust somewhere in another classroom. Welp. Anything else for me? Hold on. Oh, what's this? An old cheap slide projector. I called this model a tank because it looked like one. There was a time when I had a lot of cool fairy tales that we used to watch with Dad in complete darkness. I remember Little Raccoon and One Who Sits in the Pond, Kipling's Mowgli, and many others. I was immediately swept away by the memory of the projector's hum, of its hot casing, of its bright rays hitting the wall, turning into a screen. It's a pity that the school slides were mostly about minerals and PSAs.